And here we go. A poll from Harvard Harris dropped on the 12th. Do you support Democrats like Sanders and AOC who call for more aggressive stance toward Trump, or moderate Democrats who are willing to compromise with Trump issues important to their base? 70% AOC Bernie, moderate Dems 30%. That's a 40 percentage point lead. Stop being cowardly. Stop being afraid of your own shadow, excuse me. Stop being afraid of your own shadow. Stop being afraid of a shower if you're Asmongold.
Yeah, who Mike is.
Mike. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you are. But you may want to start changing your ways. Change.
And this is the reality. Is that the American people are actually good-hearted. The American people actually want change. The average Democratic voter isn't a piece of shit. The average Democratic politician, though, however, is a piece of shit. And I know a lot of people look at the Republican Party and they think, well, I have to vote for the Democrats to stop those lunatics. And you're right. Except for one problem. The people that you are electing are working with the lunatics. The people that you're electing are voting for the idea that criticizing Israel is anti-Semitic. That's Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer said his main job is to keep the left from being, quote, anti-Semitic, which he means criticizing Israel or opposing Israel's wars. That's not his fucking job. His job is to make Americans' lives better and make the world a better place to live in. I need you to stop being cowardly. I need you to demand more. And we're seeing in New York City that is possible. That a representative in New York, 33 years old, he came out with a bold platform to freeze the rent, to make buses fast and free, and to give every parent something that we all struggle to pay for, which is free childcare. He has a clear, bold vision. And you know what? He stood up to Israel. He didn't pander to Israel. If he can come out of nowhere and he can make it a race with a former governor, the son of a governor, and the entire centrist Democratic machine, if he can stand up against billionaires and win, or at least make them awfully scared, a better world is possible. I just need you to believe. Bernie Sanders has officially endorsed Zohran Mamdani for mayor of New York City. At this dangerous moment in history, status quo politics isn't good enough. We need new leadership that is prepared to stand up to powerful corporate interests and fight for the working class. Zohran Mamdani is providing that vision. He is the best choice for New York City mayor. Early voting has started in New York City. Obviously, if you're in New York, I'm sure you've already voted for Zohran and Brad Lander at number 2. And I think Zohran has just co-endorsed another candidate, co-endorsed by Michael Blake. Michael Blake has endorsed Zohran as well. So we have some pretty badass shit. Another representative has endorsed Zohran.
I am Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez, and I am proud to support Zohran Mamdani for mayor of New York City. He is not funded by billionaires. He's powered by the people. In Albany, he has taken on the landlords, and as mayor, Zohran will make this city work for all of us. I need a partner who will take on Trump and fight alongside me. He represents a bright future for our city.
Paid for by Zohran for NYC.
I am Congress.
Brand new mayoral poll. CUOMO 38, Mamdani 30 in round 1. And after round 10, CUOMO 52, Mamdani 48. My feeling in this is that the polls are going to be wrong because the type of voters that like turnout, the early voting turnout, the type of voters that are leaning towards Mamdani overwhelmingly much more likely to actually vote than the people that are leaning Cuomo. Cuomo is relying on just like much lower information voters who are very likely to miss the primary. So I personally think he's got this fucking thing, but we need every single door knock that you can knock, every single television ad, every single endorsement. When he's getting congressional endorsements, when he's getting Bernie Sanders endorsements, when AOC is out there holding rallies for him, Brooklyn's turnout is up 145% versus 2021. The fact that Brooklyn is turning out, let me give you some analysis on this, chat. If you don't know New York City boroughs, Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx are the home of the left in New York. And Staten Island is the home of the right. Manhattan is very mixed. So when you see Brooklyn absolutely turning out, when you see according to my sense, which is that Mamdani is going to win, or Zohran is going to win because his voters are highly passionate, much more likely to turn out. And in primary polling, and this is what's very important with the race, let me get that poll back up. The thing about polling like this, especially primary polls are very, very, very hard to do correctly. And they have much more massive error bars than other polling. Like general election polling is a lot closer to the general population, but primary voting is a subset, and it's very hard to actually properly poll a primary. And so you have to kind of create your own model of what the people that are actually going to turn out and vote look like. And it looks to me that Cuomo's support is among people that are very unlikely to turn out in a primary election. They may turn out in general elections. They may be likely voters in a general election context. But as far as a primary vote, I think it's actually very, very unlikely. He is relying on a subset of people that are much more likely to not deliver. Whereas Mamdani's base is highly fired up and difficult to poll. So I'll give you an example. If you have a 22-year-old who's voted in one election, pretty much a 0% chance to get polled by a polling company. But if you are a 70-year-old person who has voted in a bunch of general elections, you're very likely to be polled. So so when you're seeing polling where it's showing 50-50, that is with polling that is overwhelmingly going to be balanced against young people, going to be balanced against people that are on the left. The people that are on the left that you're going to see get polled are wealthier, more progressive people who are very likely to turn out as well. So when you're seeing 50-50 and he's killing it with white men, that's a sign he's going to win. Now, the only question we have is just how bad is he going to do with lower information, elderly voters, Democratic machine voters in New York City. That's his main weakness. While Zohran Mamdani and Andrew Cuomo are separated by 8% in the first round of ranked choice voting, transfers from other candidates reduce that gap to 4% within the margin of error by the final round. In the final round, Adrian Adams' votes split nearly evenly between Mamdani and Cuomo, showing that an Adams-Mamdani cross-endorsement could be the difference in beating Cuomo. 52% voters rate Mamdani a 7 or above on the 1 to 10 scale of physical attractiveness, while 58% of voters rank Cuomo 5 or lower. They polled pretty privilege. Beyond attractiveness, voters have a far more favorable view of Zohran than Andrew Cuomo. Additionally, so plus 44% to Andrew Cuomo's plus 12. Additionally, 14% of voters don't know enough about Zohran to give an opinion, highlighting the frantic race between campaigns to find Mamdani for this group. In addition to the upcoming election, voters were also asked to weigh in a hypothetical Senate election between Bronx natives and U.S. Representatives AOC and Richie Torres. AOC secures 58% compared to Torres's 23%. There is a 0% chance that Torres runs against AOC. No fucking way. When asked to consider the impacts of endorsements from several political organizations on their likelihood to support a candidate, voters broke heavily in favor of left-wing Democratic Socialists of America and Working Families Party. The Zionist American Israel Public Affairs Committee did not fare well, with voters finding an endorsement from the increasingly controversial group to be a net negative. And as you guys are pointing out, only 14% of people don't know who Zohran is. He's rapidly narrowing. He's rapidly narrowing the name recognition gap. After hearing the facts, voters are strongly against Andrew Cuomo's taxpayer-funded lawsuits against over a dozen women who have accused him of sexual harassment. Only 12% of respondents support tax dollars going toward these lawsuits, while 77% oppose the practice. Do you support freezing or raising rent for stabilized tenants? 75% freeze, 9% raise the rent.
Changing your ways, change your ways. We're changing